Welcome, everybody. Welcome to this wonderful mini course or short course. We're very delighted to see many people, both online and in person. So thank you for being there. If you want more information about Rangjung Yeshe's course, I know some of you have been inspired about this environment, so you should check out our course offer and perhaps make the step. Also for this course, I invite everybody who is so inclined to participate in a donation, because our friend here has been working on this for I don't know how many years, but
25.
25 years on this, but we should add the preliminaries maybe. So 25 years of work, reflection, meditation, coming to you like this as an offering. So it's nice if we can participate with the donation. So you can find the link in our RYI page.
The donation's not for me. It's for RYI.
Oh,
I mean,
usually we offer it, but sometimes it bounces back.
Yeah, I'd like to. I mean, if you feel inspired by this and you want to offer toward this to me, I welcome it. But then I want to go to RYI. Okay.
All right. Thank you. Much appreciated. You know John Makransky, most of you know. He's been working on this sustainable compassion program for, as I said, 25 years. And he's influenced the whole field of Buddhist studies. So he's a great scholar, but most of it, I think what is important for RYI is that he's a scholar practitioner. He's kind of one of our ideal model of a scholar practitioner, and we're very happy to have him. So please welcome John.
Thank you, Tina. I'm trying. Thank you so much. That's so I think all of us who registered for this mini course have received a link now from the RYI mini course person, and that on that is the meditation handout for these meditations. So the meditations I led the last two, if you registered, you should have gotten that. If not, you can let Deanne know. But it's a little message that says about the mini course, and it has a link in it. Takes you to a Google Drive where the meditation handout for this set of meditations and more is available. Meditations I led the last 2 evenings are meditations number 1 and number 2 on that handout. The meditation I'll lead this evening, I think, is meditation number 5. Last 2 evenings, meditation is called Field of Care meditation. The meditation I'll lead this evening is called Letting Be, like the Beatles song. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. Do you know that Beatles song? Yeah, sort of like that. I went to lunch at the Upala because last time I was here, lots of students went there for lunch, but there were no students there almost. So I will try to be there for lunch tomorrow and the next day in case anybody would like to talk to me about these things or whatever you'd like to talk about. I'm an advisor to RYI, so whatever you want to discuss. But I was told that 1 p.m. is the best time for most students. Is that true? So I'll be at the Upala at 1 p.m. the next 2 days, or I'll try very much to be there, okay? And again, say the refuge bodhicitta prayer. Okay. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and supreme spiritual community, I go for refuge until full enlightenment. By the power of bodhicitta and all six perfections, may I realize Buddhahood for the sake of all beings, including the beings in this room. Okay, so shall we begin? Why not? What the heck, as we say in America. So in this session, I'm going to introduce a meditation of deeply letting be within body, breath, and mind in order to further provide some access to awakening capacities from our Buddha nature, that is from the nature of mind, the ground of our experience. And here, especially capacities for tranquil abiding and for wisdom. So now recall from the last two evening sessions that the qualities that that the field of care evokes when we bring it to mind and inhabit it is present to us. The qualities that are evoked by that in our experience come from the ground of our experience. The field of care, whatever it is, someone in a caring moment or a benefactor, spiritual figures, or whatever, is not giving us those qualities of warmth, acceptance, sense of being seen, openness, transparency, beyond clinging, ease of being, things like that, which we shared the other night. Those qualities are not being injected into us by the field of care or field of refuge, but they are evoking those qualities by being present to us, embodying such qualities. And that starts to resonate with our capacity of those qualities and it brings them forward. And that's been true our whole life. So in a sense, the field of refuge is not an entirely new thing. It's just there are certain spiritual figures through the ages. I think in Buddhist traditions, there have actually been many who have taken this kind of thing to the limit. You know, have any of you practiced metta meditation where you're trying to learn how to literally extend love in energy and attitude and wish and in widening circles, and it becomes all beings, literally. What would happen if you fully realized that, supported by the wisdom that sees into the nature of all beings, of all reality? What would happen? If you fully realized that, you would now be holding all beings unchangingly. That's what awakening means. I just say that because I seem to meet so many people in Buddhist practice contexts who haven't thought of that, didn't realize, oh, that's part of what awakening means. We are all being held. I've said this the last two nights, right? So we're held in those qualities, and if we become conscious of it, it evokes them in our experience. We can begin to actually experience them from the ground of our experience, our Buddha nature. And we were exploring that the last two nights, and I think for many of us that happened, didn't it? So that ground of our experience, Buddha nature, is the source of these qualities of love, compassion, wisdom, and so forth. And in the last step of the field of care meditation, if you recall, the very last step of it, instruction comes to basically let this loving, healing environment, let these loving qualities help the mind to trust enough to just relax and release or let go of all of its frames of reference, the framework of the meditation, all frameworks of worry or concern, all frameworks of self or other. Just let these loving qualities help the mind to trust enough to just relax the grip on our usual reified conceptual frameworks. Just relax the grip on everything. Just give up any agenda, any attempt to do anything is what's being implied. That was the last step of the field of care meditation. Do you remember? And just settle back a bit into the background of your awareness or the ground of your awareness, which is already naturally wide open and utterly lucid. I'm actually doing it as I'm talking. It is wide open and lucid. So that's the last step of the field of care meditation. So we're relaxing toward the source of loving qualities, that kind of pervasive openness and clarity, by releasing all conceptual frameworks of mind and just letting everything be. That was the last step. And now that you have the meditation handout on this Google link, look at the meditation, read it, you'll see it. The last step of the field of care meditation is kind of a deep letting be, letting go of everything to the extent that we can, in just a very gentle way. Okay, do you kind of remember that? So in this way, the field of care practice and the letting be meditation that I'm going to introduce now empower each other. That is, the more we relax and let go into the ground of experience, nature of mind, Buddha nature, the more we relax and just let go into that, the more its qualities of love, compassion, and wisdom are freed up to unfold. And the more that we open to those qualities of love, compassion, and wisdom that come from that ground, the more they help our minds trust more, the more they help our minds trust enough to relax and to settle into their spacious source in the nature of mind, in the ground of our experience, in Buddha nature. Is that clear? Anyhow, this is all video recorded. Even I will watch them, see what I can learn. I mean, now in what comes next, I'm just going to speak for a few minutes, drawing from one of the really leading Indian Buddhist philosophers of the 7th century, Dharmakirti, who was probably one of the most brilliant epistemologists, those philosophers of epistemology, of kinds of perception and knowing and misknowing and misperception that maybe the world has ever seen. I say that in part because there are a number of cognitive scientists who have come into deep dialogue with Dharmakirti through scholars like John Donne, who have made Dharmakirti accessible to them. And so on the one hand, I'm drawing from Dharmakirti and also from cognitive science as it's come into conversation with Dharmakirti and learning from him. Okay? So here's what I'm summing up from that, from Dharmakirti and cognitive science. The mind organizes information around goals. This, by the way, will be relevant to our meditation. That's why I'm going into it. It's not just an abstract discussion. The mind organizes its information around goals. This is a really profound point, and this is what Dharmakirti saw. So conceptual experience is constructed by the mind in relation to a goal, a desire for something. Desires, and that's associated with the sense of self. So conceptual experience is constructed by the mind in relation to a goal, a desire for something that is associated with the sense of self. And this also means that when we operate through concepts, we are operating within a dualistic framework, a sense of self separate from its world in a subject-object goal-oriented orientation. Okay? So for example, what is this? Can you all see? I'm holding up a ceramic cylindrical thing. What is this? So where I come from, we call this a mug, M-U-G, mug. Is that everybody familiar with that concept? That's a concept. The concept mug is established when there's a goal to drink hot liquid out of this thing, which I'm doing now. So I'm confident it's a mug. However, if I use this to hold a whole bunch of pens on my desk, it would now be a pen holder, not a mug. If I wore it on top of my head in order to be funny, it would be a hat, like a funny hat, not a mug, not a pen holder. It depends on the goal for it, what it is to us. The concept vehicle is established by the goal of transportation. So a car, automobile, a bicycle, a pogo stick. Does everybody know what a pogo stick is? You like jump up and down on it. Even a wooden board becomes a vehicle, comes under that concept when the goal is to slide down a snow-covered hill on that wooden board. Now it's a vehicle. Is that clear? But when the goal is to take that wooden board and hit someone with it, the board is now a weapon, not a vehicle. So what it is determined by the goal that we have assigned to it. Our concepts are organized around goals. And so are our senses of self, organized around goals, desires. When the goal of a pogo stick is just to have fun, not to get from somewhere to somewhere else, but just to bounce around and have fun, it's now a toy, not a vehicle. In any moment of conceptual experience, there is a goal, a desire, that's the linchpin of that conceptual subject-object frame of mind. Is that clear? That's Dharmakirti. This means that all of our patterns of thought, all of our thinking, which is conceptual, is organized around goals, which are often not fully conscious to us. We may just think that we're thinking. We may not be noticing the goals that the thinking is directed toward, but it's always organized around goals. Try to notice right now how your current thoughts are connected to goals. Try to notice how your current thinking right now, this moment, is connected to some goal. Try to name that goal. Anybody? Yeah. Yeah, the goal to gain understanding, thinking in order to gain understanding. What else? Yeah. Thinking about dinner. You haven't eaten yet? You must be hungry. I can give you a throat lozenge to fill your goal. What else? It's really helpful, actually. Please really do this exercise. Try to identify what goal your current thoughts are now organized around. Really try to do that. Yeah. Aren't concepts related to volition? Yeah. So my goal is to try to clarify whether all concepts are related to volition. Yeah, Dharmakirti would say they're all related to desires. That's volition. Yeah, but then you're habituated to the goals that organize them, but are not conscious of those goals. We're not usually conscious or fully conscious of them. That's why I'm asking. Please try. Can anybody else give an example? What are your thoughts trying to do? Yeah. Sorry? Uh, to find a way to achieve what goal? Oh, right now you're looking for a goal. So your thoughts are about trying to determine a goal. That's fine. Then the goal is to try to determine what goal is there. Fine. Yeah. Yeah. I've been trying to include by repeating them their what they say, but this is better. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Metacognition, like my goal is to be aware of my own thoughts as they're coming up. As
Okay, so my goal is to be aware of my thoughts. So you're thinking about that. Okay. Yeah, then Ruby there.
Sometimes I think we think that's used to it.
So I'm actually not seeking that. What I'm seeking is just it could just be named. Try to name a goal. In a way, what I'm trying to avoid is avoiding
Oh, okay.
finding a goal. And really try to identify a goal that your thoughts are being organized around.
Oh, yeah. So I'm trying to be focused in this class instead of thinking about a work deadline.
Okay,
And-
so thinking about trying to be focused. That's your goal. Good. Someone else in the back?
Awakening.
You're thinking about awakening right now?
It's kind of the goal.
No, that's not what I'm asking. Like, what are you thinking about right now? I just responded in a kind of a negative way. Maybe you're thinking, oh my gosh, what does he want? And then what would be the goal of that thought? So that's what I'm trying to get at is something real. What you're really thinking right now. I'll give you a few examples, okay? Probably you'll see yourself in them. And this could be an assignment that one assignment is to keep dipping into the meditations I've introduced, any one of them that feels important or connecting for you. Keep touching in on it. You can look at the meditation handout to remind yourself. Another assignment starting now is try to notice what goal is organizing your thoughts at the moment, any particular moment. I'll give you some examples. To figure out something, to make sense out of something, to rectify something, to justify something, to avoid something, thinking about how to avoid something, how to get something, how to solve something, how to prevent something, planning, managing something, getting control over things, getting a handle on things. Is that clear? It's not that hard. And try to notice. So in the meditation of letting be that I'm going to lead next, if we learn to notice the goal at hand, the goal that's in our mind at the moment, or you could say the agenda, whatever it is that the mind's trying to do, perhaps in large part through its concepts, its thoughts. If you notice the goal at hand and then relax that goal or relax that agenda, it can open up a space of more freedom in the mind that renders us more open and present. So to relax the goal or agenda is to release the self-concerned, dualistic, conceptual frames of mind that are associated with that goal, which allows qualities of Buddha nature to emerge more freely, like pervasive openness, clarity, simplicity, peace, inner freedom, equanimity, natural warmth, ease of being. They can emerge more freely. They're held back by our conceptual activity. we may be habituated to identify with whatever goal is operative in our thoughts each moment. But by noticing the goal and relaxing it, we can relax more deeply into our Buddha nature, the ground of experience and its qualities. And then after the meditation session in life, so after the meditation session is done, in regular life, we can again take up whatever concepts and goals may be needed to fulfill our activities and functions, but in ways now informed by these awakening qualities. So holding things more loosely, viewing whoever we are with more compassionately, engaging the world with more presence, flexibility, resilience, creativity. So this is quite traditional. This is quite well known to Tibetans. Not necessarily linked specifically to talking about Dharmakirti, but inheriting all this from the full Buddhist tradition that includes him. So Tibetan instructions to begin to access our Buddha nature in a fairly direct way express this principle of releasing goals in their own ways, like letting go of all expectations. Just let go of all expectations. It's a common instruction in Mahamudra and Dzogchen. Not doing. Relaxing any goals around trying to do anything. Not meditating. Not trying to improve things. Just abandon all hopes and fears, all of which are organized around goals. To have, get, or to avoid something. Just abandon all hopes and fears. Relax all goal-oriented states of mind, in other words. So to relax our goals is to relax the subject-object structure of experience that inframes our goals. And as the subject-object structure releases, various aspects of conceptualization dissipate, including the projection of a self into the past and future, and the reification of thoughts as objective realities. All this begins to kind of dissipate. And that release allows qualities of our Buddha nature, the basic openness and clarity and warmth and simplicity and joy of it, to begin to manifest more fully, freed from the reified conceptual activities that have obstructed those qualities. So now this can sound kind of easy, the way I described it, so simple, but it can be harder than it sounds. Often a fear comes up that is resistant to letting go of our goals, because it also involves letting go of all the senses of self that are associated with them. And in a sense, letting go of our whole world as we experience it dualistically, to let go of our goals. You follow? So this is where the field of care kind of holding environment that I introduced can be profoundly supportive. Or another way to phrase this is, I'm using the field of care to try to reintroduce the concept of taking refuge, of going for refuge, as a foundational support for really profound practice. In Buddhist practice traditions that involve letting go into the infinite openness of our being, emptiness, the empty nature of all things, the ability to trust what we are letting go into is supported by the knowledge that our teachers have done that before us. And actually, they are abiding in that place of infinite openness and freedom. And they are welcoming us to join them there. It's not enough to just study about emptiness, to learn all the philosophical arguments, to learn how to deconstruct the world as we've known it and our sense of self. It's not enough to do that. We need to trust what we would then let go into, which is beyond the world as we've known it through our reified conceptual mind. We would need to trust it. And that requires deep trust. Shraddha, it's also called, been translated as faith, but somehow that word doesn't capture it. A trusting confidence that what we're letting go into, our teachers have let go into, are abiding there, are holding the world from that place, and are welcoming us to join them when we feel ready and would like to. Kind of like when we're afraid yet to go into the swimming pool, not sure about how well we can swim yet. And we have some very, very experienced swimming friends swimming around in the water, saying, the water's great, it's fine, we're here, you can go in. And then you go in the water. Trustful confidence. So similarly, the presence and loving qualities of the field of care can similarly empower us by evoking those qualities from within our nature, empower us to trust, relax, let go of our habitual goals and patterns of mind, and just release the mind into the basic openness and awareness that precedes all those patterns, like our teachers have done. Is that clear? That's how profoundly related the field of care or field of refuge practice is to really engaging the nature of reality. I don't think we can do the latter without the former. Philosophy is not enough. Trustful confidence is necessary. Or we will not let go. We will not. No matter how intellectually clever we are, no matter how intellectually well we've understood, we will not let go. Unless there's the trustful confidence to join with others who have let go. Okay? You don't have to agree. You just, is it clear enough what I'm saying? So that's basically my mission, to link all that up. Okay, so we've been sitting for a little while. It's a good time just in our own place, just to loosen up, stretch a little bit, just in your place. Get the energy flowing so we can freshly enter the meditation, okay? When I suck on this throat lozenge, which I'm doing for my cough, does that make a funny sound into the microphone that's distracting or not? No? That's great. It does? It does? Is it too distracting? Okay. Okay, let's just sit in a relaxed way, back comfortably straight. Eyes can be gazing gently downward. For this meditation, it can be kind of important to keep eyes open if you can. It's learning. But the eyes at the beginning of the meditation can be gazing gently downward, and later in the meditation, we'll raise them to gaze straight ahead. So just come down from the thinking mind into the body. And just take a slow, deep breath, inhaling from the abdomen so it expands. And exhaling slowly and completely. And relax for a moment before inhaling again if you can. And repeat that a few times. Slow, deep in-breath, abdomen expanding. Exhaling slowly, completely. And then relax for a moment before inhaling. And repeat. Just relaxing into it. And now, while still breathing from the abdomen, just let the breath go into its own natural rhythm. And feel the belly expand and contract with each breath. Feeling that. And let that feeling of the belly moving with the breath just draw you into that feeling more and more, breath by breath. Just kind of enjoying that. Now for the letting be within the body, just notice any feeling of tightness or holding on anywhere in the body. Try to just let that relax. That feeling of holding on anywhere. Let all the bodily feelings, sensations just settle in their own way, in their own time. Letting all the bodily sensations and feelings just settle in their own time, in their own way. You can deeply let be into the body by letting the body unify you with it more and more in this way. Letting the body unify you with it more and more. As if the body is meditating you. Or as if the body is doing the knowing. By letting it be. And now for letting be of the breath, still breathing from the abdomen. Just feel the inhale and exhale with each breath. And notice any sense of holding on to the breathing process anywhere. And let that feeling of holding on just relax as you can. And deeply let be into the breath by letting the feeling of the breath just unify you with it more and more, breath by breath. As if the breath is meditating you. Or as if the breath is doing the knowing. Now for the letting be of mind, now you can raise your eyes to look straight ahead with a gentle panoramic gaze, a gaze that just spaciously encompasses the whole visual field. So all senses are wide open. And just let everything be. Leaving the eyes and all senses wide open. And just relax into that panoramic sensory awareness. Just relaxing into that panoramic visual and sensory awareness. Now, notice any grasping in the mind to any mental construct, like holding on to any sense of self or goal or framework of thought or attempt to do something. And let that feeling of holding on in the mind just relax deep within, thereby releasing all goals and desires for the moment, just releasing them all. Let that feeling of holding on in the mind just relax deep within. Releasing all goals, all agendas. And if you'd like, you can let the mind settle back a bit inwardly and relax into the background of its awareness, which is naturally wide open and lucid or luminous like the sky. Just relax into the background, which is naturally wide open, lucid. Mind relaxing into the spacious background or ground of its awareness beyond reference points. Just wide open, limitless, radiant. Let this natural, utter openness of awareness meditate you, unifying you with it more and more by just letting everything be. Let this utter openness of awareness meditate you, by letting everything be. And let any thoughts, feelings that arise just process or metabolize themselves within this sky-like openness and lucidity by letting all be. Yeah, you can just let that resonate, that experience of it, as with all our meditations. Whatever meditative experience may be there, may have been there, just let it resonate into what we do now. So in this letting be meditation, I know, again, if I just asked for what was the experience like, that many of us would say, well, I spent much of the time very distracted. So, okay, I know that. But what I want to ask is, perhaps there was a moment or some moments when you felt like you were settling into the experience of letting be within the body or the breath or the mind as it was instructed. Maybe there might have been a few moments when you just kind of found yourself settling into it, like the instruction was just sort of leading you into something, at least for just a few moments. And if that's the case, then what was that experience like? Try to name a quality. Please name one quality from that kind of experience. Yeah.
Relaxed.
Okay, relaxed. Good. Others, this one and back.
Okay.
Okayness. I'll make it a noun. Okayness.
Okay.
Far back.
Thoughtless.
Okay, thoughtless or perhaps beyond thought.
Small thoughtless.
Okay. Thoughts lessened or something. Yep.
Reversed, where the subject and object flipped.
Okay. Good.
Vacant.
Okay. Vacant, or could say open. Uh, sorry.
Referenceless.
Yeah, referenceless, beyond reference points.
Unity.
Unity. Expansive unity. Oh, no, that's a different one. Okay. Unity, or kind of like oneness. One of my mentor kind of teachers, Toko Tundup, used to use the word oneness a lot. And expansive. Okay.
Concentration.
Concentrated. You might say like tranquil abiding.
Like not, not intellectual concentration, but like a,
Deep settling.
yeah, like, because I noticed when that disappeared, I started thinking about things.
So I would call that a kind of tranquil abiding.
Mm.
I prefer that to concentration because concentration implies effort,
Yeah.
and effort implies goals.
There
But
was no
you,
effort.
but
but
you've
like-
released the goals. So we're not going to use the word concentration. We'll say tranquil abiding, which is where this meditation typically takes us. Tranquil abiding without support. Shine. Tenmei shine.
Carefree and curious.
Carefree and curious. Good.
Fearlessness.
Fearlessness. Good.
Vastness.
Vastness. I'll call it fearlessness beyond fear. Maybe because there's a little bit of a beyondness to it. Not a narrow sense of self being very fearless, but a beyond fearness. Beyondness. It's beyond fear. Maybe like that. Seems okay. Yeah. Any others? Ease. Ease. What else? Discernment was there. Discerning. Good. Some others in other settings have said, have named other qualities: freedom, sense of freedom with this openness, peace, edgelessness or boundlessness, groundedness, beauty, sense of beauty somehow there, well-being, positivity, non-conceptual, open spaciousness. Typically, when someone begins to catch on to the meditation, which could happen initially just for a few moments, like I said, but it can become more than just a few moments. It's a taste of what's called tranquil abiding, or shamatha, without support. So this is one way of entering into that. But it can with the support of teachers and very deeply practiced Sangha practitioners who have learned from those teachers, it can deepen. And with support and a little further instruction, it can go all the way into a recognition of the nature of mind itself. But we were probably touching in on it at the level of tranquil abiding without support. And these qualities that you named are qualities of nature of mind, of our Buddha nature, at the level of tranquil abiding. Is that okay? Okay. So any questions, and also any comments from your experience of the meditations or of the talk that I gave? We have a little while. So especially questions coming out of the experience or right out of the talk, or comments from that.
I have a comment and a question as well.
Yeah.
The first comment after yesterday meditation, well, generally when I have a kind of good meditation, it's difficult to say good, but generally,
Yeah.
I have special effects on the body. And I just want to ask, is it normal or how to deal with that? And generally those special effects of feeling like very good. And I was like till the midnight, I was feeling a lot of movements.
Sorry, just please speak a little slower.
Yeah, sure.
The special effects was feeling good and...
Yeah, I was like, it was continuing till almost the midnight. It was like a lot of movements in the body, which I normally don't have. So I was quite surprised to feel that. It was like from heart and then like everywhere. So I wanted to, maybe you can give more insights about it. And also they give me just a desire just to stay with them, like to grasp with them and avoid all distractions, just to be in that state all the time.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one question. And another one, I'm going to be doing Nyondro, and I wanted, because you said it's kind of the practice.
You are going to be doing Nyondro, or you are doing it?
I will be doing Nyondro.
Okay.
And you said the practices you're explaining right now are kind of
Adaptive.
similar, and I want to kind of maybe you can decode Nyondro for me so I can have more benefit of it. What, for example, this practice is similar to this one. So yeah.
This is the patterns of these practices are drawn from Nyondro and Vajrayana, informed by Mahayana understandings.
Maybe you can make a reference so I can understand better.
Sorry?
Maybe you can make more like direct references, because so I can kind of connect them.
Yeah, the practice of refuge and bodhicitta, that's part of Nyondro. In a certain way, certain aspects of the mandala offering ritual are included in here implicitly, because we're offering up all of our inner experiences to the qualities of our nature with the help of a field of care. We're actually offering everything to the qualities of our Buddha nature, our nature of mind. That's mandala offering, is offering your entire outer world, your entire inner world as you experience it, every aspect of it, to the nature of mind, to the Buddha. Refuge and bodhicitta are pretty clearly embedded here. Bodhisattva practice is also the letting the energies of the nature of mind represented by Bodhisattva to help purify the distorted patterns of energy and reaction that our mind has been identified with. So it's implicitly kind of embedded in this. But what I would suggest is that when you start actually doing Ngondro and you really get into it, practicing it, and you start to become a little familiar with it, then look back at the meditations in the handout that reminds you of what the instructions here are, and you can see the correlations yourself. You can make your own correlations. With regard to the bodily phenomena you were describing, that's not unusual. It's just that the practices we're doing help open up energies within our subtle body, the subtle dimension of our physicality. And the energies kind of open up and may start to flow more freely. And certain effects come from that. But that's all I would say about that. It's okay. Just relax into it and let whatever experience is coming up be naturally embraced in the qualities from nature of mind that the field of care is helping to. So this healing, holding environment that you're becoming for whatever is happening with the help of a field of care, like we talked about last night. Really, you could say the fundamental purpose of the field of care, just like a field of refuge, is to help kind of transform our way of being into much more of a kind of a loving, healing, holding environment for all of our experiences. And that's the first step to becoming a more loving, healing, holding environment for other beings. Because if we don't learn to do the former step, we can't really be there for other beings. I mean, we can try and we can hold high ideals, being there for other beings, but we won't succeed because being with other beings triggers our feelings. And we don't know how to be with our feelings. So we react against them for triggering our feelings. In trying to avoid our own feelings, we try to avoid them or get them to be different. But it's not them, actually. It's our own feelings that they're triggering. So we need a very different way to be with our own feelings, all of them, and increasingly all the time. And that's the direction the practice goes in. Is that sort of clear, that last point? Yeah. This is where social service and social activism kind of falls down. This is not usually taught in, it's beginning to be. Certain mindfulness programs are being taught and so forth, but this kind of like this, a special focus on establishing an absolutely unconditional kind of warm, accepting, and compassionate environment for all of our feelings. That's a very special way of doing mindfulness. And that's still not, I think, often taught in graduate schools of social work or psychotherapy and so forth, for teachers, for police officers. and for social activists. So that's where the social service and social activist tends to fall down. So we don't know how to be with our feelings in a healing way, but we can't really be a healing power for the world, actually, until we learn that. Sorry, it sounds pretty absolute, but I put it out there because if you want to argue with it, we can, but I'm pretty sure about it from what I've seen the last 40, 50 years. So, other questions and comments? It's all good.
Yeah, I had a comment, kind of different
Yeah.
realm of from your talk at the beginning. I'm also reading Concept and Reality, which is a book upstairs, but
Concepts and Reality by
and something.
always know the author.
Yeah.
No,
my
that's
bad.
really important.
Sorry.
Yeah, so you have to be able to trace where the ideas are coming from
I
and
can find
where.
it if you're that curious.
No,
Right.
don't worry about
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
But yeah, it's I'm just curious because I think we're like conflating this word concept, and it's not necessarily you. I'm just seeing it at
Yeah.
large that we're like, it's always like, oh, it's a cup. But to me, like that's more of like a product or content. It's more of like a thing. To me, like concept is more like something we can't necessarily point to like in 3D space. It's like a platonic realm kind of thing. So I'm curious if there's like I agree we need to like get rid of concepts to some degree in our contemplation. We want to like distance ourselves from concepts, but I think that there's different orders of a
Well,
concept.
here I think the important thing has to do with preparing for meditation and to discover, and this is what Dharmakirti was working out, and what cognitive scientists in dialogue with him are working out, that the identities of things are constructed, those are concepts, according to our goals. So this bench that you have your, what do you call that water thing?
My bottle, yeah.
You have the bottle on. So the bottle's a bottle because it holds liquids. But if it held pens, it wouldn't be a bottle.
I understand
So
that.
the identity of it is really established by the goal for it. So also the bench that's in front of you could sit on it, and it's a bench, or it's a desk. It depends
Right,
on
so
the
it's like
goal.
relational or contextual. But my
Yeah.
point is that like something we can point to physically, I think, is a kind of like a trivial concept. I think we're like using concept very broadly to refer to a lot of things, and we're saying,
Yeah, I think I would disagree. It's not trivial at all.
Hmm.
It's not trivial at all. Like,
yeah, I think like it's a thingness, and we want to get detached from the thingness. But there's also like a higher concept that we can not necessarily point to that I think eventually in our contemplation we would distance
Yeah.
ourselves.
well, to me, that's a little bit speculative, as was Plato. But we don't have to argue about it. Dharmakirti, I think, is establishing a kind of a framework that can really inform our meditation, and that's what I'm sticking to. Yeah. Things are also concepts.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was wondering about striving and seeking Buddhahood, because
Great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
it's like it's so
timely question.
difficult in my mind somehow, because I
Yeah.
see how wonderful it is to relax any goal.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I sort of see myself here striving for Buddhahood that is like way over there somewhere.
Right.
So how about our seeking Buddhahood, our striving for Buddhahood? Is that a wrong concept?
Ultimately, yes.
Cool.
But not not in the meantime. If we don't establish goals toward progressing, like on the path of awakening, if we don't establish the goal to want to awaken, then we just won't enter into any activities toward awakening. The goals are kinds of desires that draw us into the activities that are necessary in order to begin to awaken. But Buddhist traditions are very familiar with that. There are good desires, temporarily speaking. They're not ultimate, but for the time being, we need to have them, or we won't practice anything. We need to want to practice. But once we enter into a practice that takes us in the direction of non-conceptual awareness, in order to enter into that kind of awareness, we would have to release all goals, or we cannot enter into it. And that kind of awareness is one of the fundamental awarenesses of a Buddha, is non-conceptual, non-dual awareness. So we can't enter into that while still holding on to the goal of trying to realize non-dual awareness. We have to release that goal in order to realize it, because non-dual, non-conceptual awareness is beyond all those goals. It's like you were saying. So I have this aspiration, this desire to attain Buddhahood, which seems so far beyond me. Is it wrong to have that goal? So I'm saying no. For the time being, while on the path, it's important to have that goal. But as you said, Buddhahood is a kind of beyondness. It's beyond the frames of mind that hold all such goals. So to actually realize Buddhahood more and more, we would need to realize a non-conceptual mode of awareness that releases all goals. But if we have not had any goals to learn how to do that and all the supportive practices, then we wouldn't be able to. So ultimately, yes, we release all goals, but to get there, we have to hold some temporal goals in mind for the time being, maybe for a long time. But when we enter into non-conceptual meditation, for that time, we have to release those goals. Then again, after meditation, post-meditation, we can take up goals again, I said before, and now they could be influenced, the way we hold to those goals, by the qualities of nature of mind, qualities that we're made contact with in non-conceptual meditation, like patience.
Yeah, it's hard to fit that into my little head somehow. Yeah. But I'll think about it more.
Yeah, think about it more, but it's actually not that hard. It's just we're not used to it. It's actually pretty simple. Or the beyondness you're seeking, you named it, the beyondness that you're ultimately seeking is beyond all those frames of mind that you just said, I can't fit it into my frames of mind. You said beyondness. The Buddha just seems like so beyond. That beyondness is beyond all those frames of mind. So to realize that kind of beyondness, even initially, you would have to release all those frames of mind. But you wouldn't be in a position to do that if you didn't have the goal to do all the accumulation of merit and wisdom and support practices necessary to put yourself in that position, to release all frames of mind for the time being. It's fairly straightforward. But yeah, continue to think about it. I just didn't want to leave it at, oh, it's all too complicated, like high philosophy. It's not that complicated, but it's worth thinking about. Okay, others?
So I'm wondering, I mean, a little bit listening to Anijoma's question and your conversation, is there some different understanding to be had between having a goal or this word that was very commonly used in the traditional way, motivation? What is the difference between motivation for doing practice and having a goal or not having a goal?
Yeah. That's really a deep question, actually. I think in general, or you could say like relative and ultimate. I mean, like relative motivation, I think always has goals. But the ultimate motivation is non-conceptual compassion, spontaneous Buddha activity. So how do we make sense out of that? That's beyond goals.
From here to there. And when I think of motivation, it's like something at my back that is supporting me rather than over there.
So motivation for what?
Like that. So in the context, like in the beginning of the teachings, when they're always saying like, notice our motivation, is it the motivation of bodhicitta, correct it, that kind of
So
thing.
what's the motivation of bodhicitta?
So, but I feel like it's just a different orientation for me. Like when I hear the word goal, I feel like I am here and I'm going there.
Yeah.
Whereas when I think of motivation, I feel much more like the rhetoric that you have of being held or embraced or supported
Okay,
by
but
just the whole atmosphere of bodhicitta.
yeah, but to feel supported by the bodhicitta that's realized by all those before us is not yet bodhicitta. So what actually is bodhicitta? When they say correct your motivations so that it becomes bodhicitta, what would that motivation be? Bodhicitta itself.
I think it's just for me a slight internal shift between like, I want to get something for others, and it's just a little more relaxed, like this atmosphere of the teachings and the teacher and the whole lineage has kind of got my back toward an understanding or something like that.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Toward what?
Yeah.
And that's the goal.
Okay.
So if I'm hearing you right, I think what you're sharing from your experience
Yeah.
is a way to hold a goal
Yeah.
in a much more spacious, free, relaxed way. But bodhicitta does involve a goal,
Okay.
at least as it's realized by human beings on the path
Yeah.
and bodhisattvas. When we get to actual Buddhahood, everything goes totally beyond all of our constructs, totally. So activity becomes spontaneous. Bodhicitta is awakened mind. It has no goal to become awakened. It's the more ultimate meaning of bodhicitta, that sort of thing. So it's not, yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas what you were describing as a goal, getting from here to there, sort of like uptight physical expression you gave, it's more uptight holding of goal. It can be held much more loosely. But that's what I was saying earlier. If we learn to release goals somewhat in practice and enter into a somewhat more non-conceptual kind of awareness, then when we again, after meditation, take up goals again, like I'm supposed to be teaching a class here or something, that's a goal. We can hold it more loosely, more freely, more relaxed, more flexible, more resilient, more creative, more in the moment, things like that. So it's a different way of holding a goal, but there's still an organizing principle there. We're having a class. Yeah.
So 2 questions from online people. The first one, and it's very much related, so we'll be swimming in the same waters.
Yeah.
How do we balance letting go of goals with the needs to have goals and pursue them? So
Yeah.
it's very much,
I think I just answered that.
right? So the second one, isn't it true that the Nundro practices should only be done under the genuine guru or lama?
Yes, that's right. So that's partly why I made this adaptation to both as, in a way, something a little more informal than formal Gundro that could function in a wide variety of settings, both for Buddhists and non-Buddhists, and people in different walks of life and in different traditions, but prominently also very much for Buddhists, just to help inform and empower our practice in a broad way. For some people, it seems to be quite meaningful and helps kind of give a boost to their Buddhist understandings and practices. Not everyone. So, but I've met quite a number of Buddhists that felt like that could happen. So that encouraged me that, well, this is probably a meaningful direction. Then also for people who are not Buddhists from other faith traditions and also did not think they were interested in religion, a good many of them get interested and find their way to teachers, good teachers, Buddhist teachers. And they may still be Jewish or Christian, but now somehow they're in the stream here. They're often these days modern teachers don't say, no, you have to first renounce your Christianity, renounce your Judaism, renounce your family, and you can be something else called a Buddhist. That most of them don't do that. So people from other faith traditions find their way to authentic teachers, and also people who did not think they were interested in something called religion often find, wow, there's really something here. I didn't realize this was here in something called a religion, Buddhism. So I think that's worth helping people to see. Yeah, but yeah, Ngundro requires you're doing that under the guidance and transmission of a authentic teacher. Yeah.
What's interesting in that question and in your answer is the fact that Ngundro is not a completely new thing from every other practice, right? There's a sense what you're drawing is kind of the common ground.
Yeah.
And Ngundro is like a version of that kind of thing, we could say, right?
Yeah, okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, seems good. I think there's maybe time for just one more, and there was one there. Oh.
So I really enjoy your guided meditation. So thank you so much. And also for the teachings these past couple of days. And I was wondering, because my own teacher has not put that much emphasis on guided meditations. It's more, teaching and contemplating and then doing it yourself and seeing what you find. And so I was wondering, how should I think about these guided meditations? How should I use them? For how long, and how dependent should I be on them? Because right now they feel like they're giving me tremendous benefit.
You can rely on them as much as you find them helpful.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, many people do. And they may also have other teachers who teach in a different way. And maybe it's partly because we teach in different ways that we find different approaches helpful. Many of us have studied and practiced with different teachers, and they have different approaches. So just do it as much as you find it helpful for your practice. Look for find your inner authority on that, your inner discernment through the practice itself. Okay, and then just one more here. You raise your hand, please. Okay. It has to be kind of brief. We just have a few minutes.
Okay. Yeah, I have one comment and one question.
Yeah.
So first of all, thank you very much for this lecture. It's very inspiring. And I liked your comment or your statement about those who came before us and have realized the natural state. They are there for us, and they check if it's safe actually to jump. It gives more of a sense of the goal is not there, like out there, but it's more, if we are ready, we can directly make this connection and experience it. Yeah, that's yeah, a nice way of thinking about it. My question is,
that is the traditional way to think about it, actually. That's the basis of Shraddha or faith, what often translated faith. It means increasing trustful confidence in the whole history of Buddhist traditions. Those before us have realized something. And they found it to be more than safe. They found that to be the safe thing, and our ways of being to be thoroughly unsafe. They're just waiting for us to be ready to increasingly join them, so we can be safe too. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Thank you. And my question is, were we supposed to watch our thoughts, or we every time when a thought arises, that we should trace it back to the goal and then let go of it, or
no. If you trace it back, you'll find yourself without goals. If you trace it back to where it's arising from, if you really do that, that's a great exercise. Try to trace our thoughts back to their source, where they're arising from. You won't be able to hold any goals anymore. So what I was suggesting earlier is different than that. That's more like in the direction of ultimate practice toward the nature of mind. What I was suggesting is just notice what you're thinking. Like I gave this whole list of things, trying to get something or have something or avoid something or control something or manage something or figure something out. Aren't those easy enough to identify as, oh, that's what my thought process is doing? So it's just at the level of just noticing what our thought process is kind of organized toward. That's all. At the moment, whatever moment that is.
So as soon as recognizing it, letting go of it?
No, not that. Just the practice I just led. I mean, you can do that, but that's not what I just, the reason I gave that exercise, try to identify the goal of your present thinking mind, is so that, because mostly we're not conscious of the goals that our minds, that our thinking is organized around. We're just not conscious of them. So when the instruction comes in the meditation, it was to prepare for this meditation, the one we just went through. And the point comes in the letting be of mind where it says, now notice if there's any goal. Notice if there's any sense of holding on within the mind to a sense of self, to a goal, to an agenda, to a frame of mind. And just relax that sense of holding on from deep within. Just release the goals. But it would be hard for us to do that if we've never even noticed that our mind is actually organized around goals. So that was to prepare for that meditation. Okay?
But then goals like arise again and again, right?
Yeah.
It's not one goal you
Every sense of self we have is structured around a goal. Yeah. Like you, the questioning sense of self right now is structured around a goal to understand something.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure. Well, that's Dharmakirti. Okay, I think we're at the end of our time. Thank you all very much. Yeah.